We are back. Thanks for staying with us. Joined in studio now by Riggs Eckelberry. Of course, he is the CEO of OriginClear Incorporated. OCLN's their ticker symbol. Riggs, always a pleasure.
It's my pleasure, sir.
Now, you want to talk about the Permian Basin this week.
I want to talk about the Permian Basin. The Permian Basin really needs us. And here's the story, is that, well, there's really several ways we are sort of entering the space. And of course, you always want to start with the low-hanging fruit, as they call it. Now, a couple years ago, we did really well. My brother was in the Permian with a licensee that we were affiliated with, and did very well disinfecting the well water so that it wouldn't have the hydrogen sulfide, the egg smell. What the rotten egg smell does is it makes the crude sour. So that was successful, worked well, but for really internal reasons, the licensee didn't continue. Now, the person codenamed Dennis in my CEO update is working with some very, very strong funders, primarily around the issue that a lot of players in the Permian are trying to diversify, find new lines of business. One of these, for example, has to do with the saltwater disposal wells, SWD, reusing some of the water that's being dumped in the saltwater disposal well. Does two things. Number one, a lot of wells are running dry in the Permian, so the water becomes available. Number two, it lengthens the life of the SWD, right? Because those things, once you fill them up, they're done. You cap them. So it gives you a longer useful life, and you help the Permian, everybody wins. That seems to be the lowest hanging fruit. Now, there's additional things. I was talking in my CEO update this week about the fracturing sand wash. The fracturing sand goes down, cracks the vein, so to speak, and then oil comes up, and so does the sand.
Right.
And then you take the sand, wash it, reuse it. Now, the water used for the washing, it too could be reused, right? But that's not, we've learned this morning that is less of an urgent problem than the SWDs. They are the big opportunity.
Right.
And so what's going ahead with, and I've always issued the disclaimers, this is not definitive agreements, but we've agreed to move ahead with a joint venture in the Permian that will develop a demonstration unit rapidly. And you recall that a couple of years ago we were in Bakersfield with a working unit,
I remember that.
the EcoPod, and worked excellently. We have a Chevron consultant who gave us, it's all on the website, fully bought off. We're going to basically replicate that in the Permian, perhaps a bit bigger, and that'll be a demonstration unit to then start getting large commitments to process the water again.
Now, we've talked about the water industry moving slow. The oil industry doesn't move a whole lot quicker. Do you see any levels of resistance when you bring this concept to
You're right. So, for example, you notice I have not talked about comprehensive frac water treatment.
Right.
Why? It's a complex, many-part process that people are very freaked out about not working right. If it doesn't work right, and it's true, they have production schedules. It's like bang, bang, bang. So what this does is it takes a little bit out of that, white hot, intense, super difficult decision, which we found before was very difficult to get people sold off on. But this is easier because it's a bonus. Right. Hey, you're dumping the water. Well, hey, if you manage to clean it and reuse it, it's a win-win. And so we step out of the sort of critical operations area, create a win, and it then generates this funding opportunity for the large investors who are trying to diversify.
Saves money, good for the environment, helps the investor. Nice.
Very American, isn't it?
I like that. OriginClear Incorporated, OCLN. The story just continues to get better. Riggs, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.